Welcome everybody to The Lost Element. My name is Deecent. I'm an Austrian rapper, but first and foremost I'm a hip hop head, and this is just a decent review of Pinata by FREDDIE GIBBS and Madlib, released in 2014 and their first collaborative album together. This album really brought FREDDIE GIBBS to a bigger audience. When I think about FREDDIE GIBBS, I immediately think about GTA 5. I played that game for many years and I still sometimes turn my PlayStation on and ride around Los Santos. And before GTA 5, I never heard of FREDDIE GIBBS. But after I heard that deep, smoky voice, I checked out some more of his music. And now I'm finally here reviewing what many people consider his best album. I spent the whole last week listening to Pinata, so let's check it out. We start with number 1, Supplier, which really is just a skit which sets the tone for the whole album. It opens with a dialogue sampled from a blaxploitation movie, and then it just kind of transitions into this African style of beat, which doesn't do that much, but it perfectly sets the tone for what is about to happen. And number 2 is the first real track called Scarface. And this starts exactly with what you expect from Madlib and FREDDIE GIBBS. It's full of samples and full of gangster rap lyrics. The beat kind of sounds like a gritty 1970 gangster movie. And FREDDIE GIBBS raps about his experiences with drug dealing, drug trade, street violence, gang violence, and it's just the perfect introduction for this album. Personally, I have to admit that the first few times I listened to that track, I was kind of overwhelmed. The sirens, the different samples, it all felt a little bit too much. But with every listen, the song grew on me a little bit more, and now I think it's a very good introduction into this album. Going right into track number 3, Deeper. And this beat was immediately my kind of beat. The emotional strings, but still kind of gritty and grimy. Madlib creates the perfect atmosphere for the lyrics FREDDIE GIBBS is about to spit. The song is about a character who was in prison, and when he came back from prison, he realizes that his former partner moved on in life, while he's trapped in the same world of drugs, crime, and violence. Once again, FREDDIE GIBBS draws a perfect picture over incredible samples and instrumentals from Madlib, and you can now fully see the chemistry is really there. Track number 4, High, featuring Danny Brown, is my first little personal highlight. I gotta say, I'm not a stoner and I probably never will be, but if I were, I would put on this song. It's such a laid back and kind of feel good track. Madlib's production is beautiful, also the sample in the hook is beautiful. FREDDIE GIBBS sounds relaxed, so everything is kind of chill, and suddenly Danny Brown comes in with this loud part. I really wasn't expecting that. I mean, I know Danny Brown's voice and how he raps or how he sounds, but on this track, I wasn't expecting this high-pitched voice suddenly. He really changes the energy of that song, but every time I play that song, I'm looking forward to his verse. So I don't know what it is. It's kind of the mix, and every time it's just beautiful and gives you energy. You can chill but also be hyped up in a kind of way. And even though I can't relate to the whole stoner theme, I still really like that song and play it a lot actually. And the feel-good vibe goes on with the track Heralds. This was released as one of the singles, and I absolutely can understand why. This track is actually an ode to the famous Harold's Chicken restaurant, where FREDDIE GIBBS takes us back to his hometown of Gary, Indiana. He reflects on growing up there, he tells stories from his childhood and youth, and he even has his basic order at this restaurant in the hook. I really love the production. It's laid back, but not in a sleepy way. The beat keeps moving, but it still gives enough space for FREDDIE to tell his stories. I also highly recommend checking out the music video. It's kind of simple. He just shows some places in his hometown. He shows the restaurant, but you see a lot of characters and it just seems authentic and real. It's a flawless track for me, and it's really just smooth and always fun to listen to, whether you play it in the back or you concentrate on the stories. And things get a little bit harder on the track 6 called Bomb with Raekwon. I honestly don't have a lot to say about this track, but not in a bad way. It just seems like a simple, solid street rap track. Both MCs do exactly what you expect them to do. Freddie delivers another incredible verse. Raekwon sounds fantastic. And once again, Madlib provides a beat that perfectly fits the atmosphere and the whole album. One thing that always catches my attention is the snare. I don't know what it is, but every time I listen to that track, it just stands out to me. It's one of those small production details that just sticks in my head. And also I have to mention that every single feature part on this album sounds incredible, and Raekwon is no exception. Track number 7, Shitsville, is one of those songs that immediately grabbed my attention. That raw beat with that hard-hitting gangster rap attitude, absolute phenomenal. I love Freddie Gibbs' flow on this track. He perfectly flows over this gangster rap beat from Madlib. He almost sounds like another instrument. He just fits perfectly over this beat. Lyrically, he's talking about the harsh reality of growing up in the streets, crimes, violence, and at the same moment he directly addresses people who think they are better than the people who grew up in this kind of environment. So throughout the hook, he keeps on saying, "You motherfuckers just like me." To me, it sounds like Freddie's saying, "You're not better than me, we breathe the same air, we have the same blood, so don't act like you're a better person." You can really feel his anger and frustration in his voice. It's honest, it's emotional, and it's exactly that kind of street rap I expect from Freddie Gibbs. Track number 8, Thuggin, is probably the biggest fan favorite on this album, and I completely understand why. If somebody asked me who Freddie Gibbs is, I'd probably play this track. Once again, Freddie talks about street life and drug dealing, but what I really like about this, he never glorifies it. Instead, he reflects of how drugs can ruin lives and families. Even though he repeats, "It feels so good, it feels so right," you can clearly tell he knows that this life comes with a heavy price. Throughout the songs, it feels like music is his only way out. And one thing I also have to mention again here is the music video. It's an example of how real and honest Freddie Gibbs' music is, cause at first glance you see guns, drugs, but it never feels like people are celebrating or glorifying that kind of lifestyle. Nobody looks happy, nobody looks like they are having fun. Instead, you see people who are just trying to survive in this way. Personally, it's not one of my favorite tracks on this album, but that's not because of the story or because of Freddie's rapping. It's just because the beat isn't fully my taste. Madlib creates the perfect atmosphere, but I think those high bell sounds are just a little too present for me. So it's just personal opinion. I still like to listen to that song, but sometimes it's a little bit too distracting for me. But I know that this is one of the defining tracks of who Freddie Gibbs as an artist is. Track number 9, called Real, is probably the best known example for a response from Freddie Gibbs to his former label boss Young Jeezy. On this track, Freddie lets out all his frustration, what went wrong between them. To be honest, I didn't follow that beef, but it was interesting for me to read about that story. One of the best things on that song is the beat switch. Madlib creates a perfect transition. After the first beat, you kind of hear the kick drum a few times and suddenly the whole beat changes. And I feel like, especially in the second half of the song, you really can feel Freddie Gibbs' emotions. And every time I listen to that song, I picture Madlib sitting in the studio and playing this beat while Freddie Gibbs just pours his emotions out and his anger and his frustration and just jumps in the booth. And I think that's why the song feels so real. After Real, the album completely grabs my attention and gets better and better. Track number 10, Uno, was the first track that really grabbed my attention and I immediately was into it. I'm an absolute fan of the hook and the confidence Freddie Gibbs brings in his lyrics. Lyrically, it's a classic bragging rap track where Freddie Gibbs just shows that he doesn't need anybody to be a successful rapper and a successful independent artist. Songs like this can be repetitive, but it works so good because it's authentic. No matter who your favorite rapper is, at this moment you feel like, okay, Freddie Gibbs may be better. And that's that kind of competition we love in the rap game. Also, Madlib deserves a lot of credit, another banger beat. And this is the first song that I put in my top 3 list, but I gotta say, on my TikTok and Instagram videos I put that song on number 2, but after spending even more time with the album I now have to put it on number 3. You will see why. Track number 11, Ropes, is my absolute favorite on this album, so put it on number 1. After this song I knew I will never forget about this album. It kind of changed the vibe for me, but in a very positive way. The production is absolutely incredible. I love those jazz samples which give again such a laid back vibe but still carrying a lot of energy. Lyrically, Freddie Gibbs, Earl Sweatshirt and Domo Genesis just reflect a little bit but talk about how to build a better life and that they just want to move on. Talking about surviving but also about becoming successful. And I just love those kind of motivational tracks. Even though they're talking about a completely different world than mine, I still can relate to some things they are saying and can reflect my own life with it. To me, it's a song about never giving up, leaving difficult times behind and just go on. And I just love those kind of rap tracks, so number 1 spot deserved. And the laid back atmosphere continues on the track Broken featuring the legendary Scarface. I really like how the song immediately drops into the instrumental without any introduction and you're instantly pulled into this kind of atmosphere. Lyrically, Freddie Gibbs talks about growing up in a broken home with unstable circumstances and financial struggles and everything that comes with this kind of childhood, and it's just another example of how honest Freddie Gibbs is. The smooth production kind of like forces you to listen to the lyrics and just let the beat ride but still be focused. Freddie sounds again incredible and Scarface just proves why he's one of the most legendary MCs ever. I honestly gotta say that Scarface may be my top 5 favorite feature rappers of all time. Every song I hear featuring Scarface, he just delivers and tells the greatest stories. Every time I see his name on a track list, I'm looking forward to it because I know that this is gonna be awesome, and this is no exception. And we stay on the highlights with track number 13, Lakers, and this is exactly the reason why Uno has dropped down a spot, because Lakers is going at the number 2 spot. I couldn't stop listening to this track the last few days. The very first time I heard this song, I was completely blown away. I was lucky enough to visit Los Angeles once in my life, and back then I didn't even know that this song existed. But now every single time I hear this song, I immediately get flashbacks. So this song gives me memories from a time I didn't even know it yet. That's just how perfectly it captures the feeling of Los Angeles. Whenever I hear this song, I think about blue sky, sunshine, driving through the city, and just, I don't know, feel good vibes. It's one of those songs you want to play when you're sitting in your garden and just enjoying a beer and the sun. I just love it. And that's the reason why Uno has to go to the number 3 spot. I also have to give a shout out to Absol, who once again delivers a fantastic feature part. And funny enough, Absol is also an artist I discovered playing GTA. Them two making a song about Los Angeles and me only knowing them because of GTA while driving around Los Santos is just a perfect full circle moment. And that's why this song is always such a nostalgic journey for me. Track number 14, Knicks, took me a little bit longer to understand. The song title Knicks is a double metaphor. It refers to Nickelbacks, which is another drug reference, and also to the basketball team, the New York Knicks. To be honest, neither basketball or that type of street slang plays a huge role in my life outside of rap music, so that's why it's always a little bit difficult for me to understand those kind of references. Of course, I know the New York Knicks, and I knew that Nickelback is a drug reference, but I didn't know that the title or the hook also connects to the legendary 55-point game from Michael Jordan against the New York Knicks. That's one of those details I only discover when I really dive into this kind of album. Even though this track isn't one of the most relatable songs, I still enjoy the song. I enjoy the beat, again, the atmosphere Madlib creates. The only thing I think I would have liked more is when the sample would be more present in the hook. I don't think the hook is bad, but I think with the sample being more present, it would have been more my taste. But that's really just personal preference. So this song is a solid track, which adds another chapter in Freddie Gibbs' story. Track number 15, Shame, slows things down again a little bit. Freddie Gibbs reflects on a relationship falling apart because of mistrust and cheating. And whether you can relate to the story or not, you still can feel the emotions behind it. And Madlib once again provides a smooth, soulful beat with a beautiful sample. For me, it's one of those songs I just can relax and enjoy listening. Track number 16 isn't really a song, but rather a skit. It features recordings of Freddie's late uncle Big Time Watts, who became known among Freddie's fans on, I think, social media back in the day for his hilarious rants and his unmistakable personality, I guess. I never got the chance to follow Freddie Gibbs back then, so I wasn't familiar with it. Big Time Watts sadly passed away in 2017, so this is kind of like a small tribute to someone who clearly meant a lot to Freddie, so rest in peace, Big Time Watts. And the album comes to an end with the title track Pinata, which is a huge posse cut with a few feature guests like Mac Miller, Domo Genesis, and you see the whole list here. I honestly think it's a great way to end this album. Everybody gets his time to shine. And what's interesting for me is every time I listen to that song, a different part becomes my favorite. And I think that's exactly what makes a great posse cut. And Madlib once again delivers a classic, hard-hitting battle rap beat, giving every rapper enough space to really shine and really show what he's capable of. I think it's just a really fun way to end this album. So what's my final verdict on Pinata by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib? I think this album is really one of the best ways to really understand who Freddie Gibbs as an artist and also as a human being is. Throughout the project, you really can hear how hungry he was and how important it was for him to leave a mark with this album. His chemistry with Madlib is incredible, and they both really delivered one of the best gangster rap, street rap albums in, I don't know, modern day hip hop, or let's say hip hop after the year 2000. What I love the most about this album is that Freddie Gibbs never romanticizes this kind of lifestyle. He talks about drugs, he talks about guns and violence, but he never tells, hey look, that's such a great lifestyle. Quite the opposite. Throughout the album you really can feel that music became his way out. So what's my rating for this album? If I had to rate it from a hip-hop perspective, I think this album is at least a 9, looking at the influence and at the quality. But here at The Lost Element, my ratings are personal. They are based on my connection to this album, they are based on my memories and my emotions. You can find my full rating system in the description below, and I also rate every single song of that album, and this is what the song rating looks like. Feel free to pause if you want to take a closer look, and let's see my rating of the whole album. I give Pinata an 8. To me, it's an absolute modern day hip hop classic, a must know for a hip hop head, and I think the only reason why it isn't a 9 or even a 10 for me is just because Freddie Gibbs and I are kind of living in two completely different worlds. I can't relate to a lot of experiences he's talking about on this album, but I still can appreciate how well this album is made and how honest it is. So if you're a gangster rap fan or a real hip hop head, don't miss this album. Now I would love to hear your opinion. What is your favorite track on Pinata, and what memories or emotions do you connect with this album? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, I would really appreciate your support here on YouTube or on TikTok and Instagram. And don't forget to tune in next week when we review the album of this week, this one. Till then, keep supporting the realness and let's talk hip hop.